As a lumber salesman, I get asked questions all the time. How does different wood species react to extreme humidity shifts? Will these boards warp if I use them in my basement? Is this board gonna move on me? And every single time my answer is always the same. It depends on the species. And that answer usually gets a blank stare. So today I'm going to show you how each species moves in all directions so you can pick the best wood for the job. But first, here's a question for you. Ancient wood builders would drive dry wood wedges into the cracks of granite. Then they would soak those wedges with water. The wood would swell up with so much force that it would split the granite in half. So if wood could crack solid stone, what do you think a moisture reading like 19% is doing to the glue joints of your bookshelf? Let's do a test. Here's test 1, red oak. Test 2, walnut. They're about the same size, same 4/4 thickness. I'm measuring each width with a digital caliper so we can compare it with the test results later on. We have 2 controls just in case so we can keep a constant. We'll set these bad boys off to the side. Now watch, I'm gonna soak both boards immersed in water to force a moisture change. In a real house, this kind of shift happens slowly over months, but obviously we're gonna speed it up so you can see the results today. It's all about the TR ratio, and don't worry, that term is gonna make sense to you here in a little bit. Let's get some water and get these bad boys submerged. And for this next test, we're gonna lay down some paper towels here and then just soak it with a little bit of water on the bottom. That way we could just soak one face of the board. Before I put test 2 in the bin there, you can see that these bad boys are pretty flat. Same thing with the walnut. See, test 2, black walnut, red oak going in. Ironically, we're calling this the race to win the cup. Get it? Cupping? Get it. I have a feeling that this particular test is gonna prove something that most woodworkers never think of. Now, both sides of the test are running. We're gonna set these off to the side and check the results in 24 hours. It should be pretty crazy. Let's talk about the one-sentence version of what you need to know from this entire video. Wood moves differently depending on the species. And if you don't know the difference, you're gonna pay the price in the end. All right, gather around, kiddos. Here's something almost nobody talks about. You think the summer means humid air and the winter means drier air. Well, that's true outside, but inside a modern home running central air conditioning all day in July, that air conditioner is pulling humidity out of the air just as hard as a furnace does in January. So your climate-controlled house can be dry in the middle of summer, which is the opposite of the humid summers that we normally think of. And here's one more little tidbit before we move on. If we remember, wood is hygroscopic. That means the dense hardwoods like oak and walnut that we're testing, they're gonna release moisture a little bit more slowly. Well, most of the time. But when wood loses water fast, that's exactly what causes that warping we see. In a minute, I'm gonna show you the exact number that tells you whether wood's gonna warp on you before you even buy the lumber. But first, we need to understand how wood moves in the first place, and it's stranger than you think. Along with wood being hygroscopic, it's also something called anisotropic. That means it behaves differently based on the way it shrinks or expands. Now, what's that right there in your ear? Oh, look at that. I'm just kidding. Anyways, picture a tightly packed bundle of straws that are, well, glued together. These aren't. This gets the point across anyways. This is basically what wood looks like under a microscope. Straws barely change in length, but squeeze the bundle from the side and it compresses easily. Now, wood behaves the same way. It barely shrinks along the width of the board, but it changes most drastically along the thickness and the width of the board. Here's the number that matters most in this entire video. It's called the TR ratio. It is tangential shrinkage divided by radial shrinkage. Tangential shrinkage means how much the wood shrinks along the wood rings, and radial means how much it shrinks from the center of the tree outwards. Here's the rule. If a wood's TR ratio is close to 1.0 to 1.5, it shrinks almost evenly in every direction. That means it stays flatter. Black walnut and Honduran mahogany live in this zone. But if that ratio climbs up to 2.0 or higher, the outer face, the bark side, is shrinking almost twice as fast as the inner face, the heart side of the board. This side shrinks twice as fast as this side. That mismatch is usually what causes cupping. Not always though. There are some outside factors. Red oak and Pacific Madrone live in this danger zone. The information I'm about to tell you is top secret. Just kidding. The data comes from the USDA Forest Products Laboratory testing, measured from green wood all the way to kiln dried. White oak moves a lot overall with a TR ratio of 1.88, but it moves fairly evenly, so it stays somewhat predictable. Red oak sits at a TR of 2.15. That's high risk territory here, and you can expect some cupping. Hard maple isn't far behind at 2.06, moving hard with every humidity swing. Anything over 2.0 means that the face is moving twice as much as the edge, and that mismatch is usually what tears projects apart. Now flip it. Black walnut sits at 1.63, one of the most stable hardwoods that you could find. Cherry comes in at 1.98. It's manageable, but it sure can carry some tension. Hickory is 1.48, which surprises me because hickory is known to be very finicky and difficult. It's similar to cherry where it kind of twists and turns when it's growing to reach the canopy, and that creates a lot of tension in the wood. But this information is confusing because the TR suggests that it shouldn't move much at all. Let us know in the comments what you think of this situation. And Honduran mahogany at 1.48 barely moves at all. That's the golden standard, my friend. On the extreme end, Pacific Madrone. Pacific Madrone hits 2.43. It's the worst on our entire list. I'm gonna put a full list of a bunch of species and their TR ratios on the screen right now. So you can pause here if you want to check out to see where your favorite wood lands. If you've ever built something out of red oak or madrone and watched it cup on you, it wasn't bad luck. It was the wood doing exactly what the numbers predicted. And that moisture reading of 19% at the beginning of the video, well, kiln dried lumber should sit closer to 8 to 9% once it's acclimated indoors. 19% means that board is still loaded with water. And depending on the species, it's about to leave unevenly and take the shape of your board with it. That's why you check the moisture content of a board before you commit it to a project. The meter that we use is crap, basically, right, Kendall?
It's not crap.
It's
How do you know?
well, it's because
What happens if we buy the really expensive one and you're like, oh, it works the same?
It won't.
It won't.
It's from our favorite Asian country. It's cheap Chinese crap. What are you talking about? Instead, we recommend the Wagner meters, the Orion series. These bad boys are tippity top of the line. We're gonna put a QR code right here for you guys that are watching on your TV. We're gonna have it in a YouTube shopping link right here, and we'll also link it in the old dust collector below. It's one of the highest quality moisture meters in the game, and we earn a commission off of anything you buy using one of our links. This happens at no extra cost to you, brother and sister. Now, let's go on and check our experiment. Okay, all right, here we go. We have the results right here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna start with key takeaways for test 2 because those are the least interesting. I didn't really care about measuring the thicknesses. I really just wanted to show you the cupping that happened, as you could see, as you've seen earlier. And I'm gonna show you those results of the cupping right now. It's test 2 of the board here, walnut board. You could see the light shining through there. That wasn't there before when we did the other test. Here, let's look at the other one. Look at that, there's a big, big cup. Light coming through. That's amazing, some of the cupping that happened there. And then we also did controls. Before I get to test 1, which is the most interesting in my opinion, because we had just cut them fresh, the control boards actually lost moisture and shrank over the 24 hours. That confirms that this shop here is actively drying wood. It's drier than outside, and you know, we try to keep it really dry in here because of the rest of the kiln dried lumber that we have in storage here. Here's the key takeaways for test 1, which I think is the most amazing test that we did. As you remember, we submerged all of them, and red oak expanded 2.3 times more than the walnut, to be exact. Red oak expanded at 3/32 of an inch. Walnut only expanded 3/64 of an inch. And all this data really aligns with the results of the USDA's Forest Products Laboratory Handbook, the Wood Handbook. Their results also showed that red oak had a higher volumetric and tangential dimensional movement than walnut. But this all just tells us one simple thing. You can't stop wood from moving. Nobody can. But you can outsmart it. Pick the species with a lower TR ratio when flatness matters the most. Let your lumber acclimate to the exact room that it's gonna live in, not just your garage. Read the end grain before you commit a board to a project. because that grain pattern is going to tell you which way it's going to move. If you understand this, then wood movement stops becoming a mystery. It becomes something you can predict before you even make the cut. But here's the problem. Everything that we just covered tells you which wood to choose, but it doesn't tell you how to keep your lumber dry and flat once you bring it into your shop. And that part, my friends, is a completely different fight. And there's one method that solves it that almost nobody in woodworking talks about. We show you the secret to keeping your wood perfectly flat in this video right here. We'll see you there, brother and sister. The best part of having all this lumber in this warehouse here is the fact that you can use these boards as a back scratch, like you're a bear in the wilderness.